you know what? Enough is enough. Let me focus on me and the things that I can control. Let me focus on me and my family. Let me focus on me and my wife for those who are married. Let me focus on me and my kid. And then let me try to figure out with everything that's going on the outside, how can I better prepare myself for my family?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Dads on Purpose podcast, man. I'm your host, Josh Ashford. Got the big homie with me as always, the mentor coach. Kev, what's good, man?
What's up, baby? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. What we talking about today? We talking about some mental health, right?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the mental health, fatherhood, and mental health. It's about to go down.
I love it, man. I love it. Yo, I mean, it's so key. But before we get into all that, man, tell the people about yourself real quick.
So just a little bit about me, fellas. Dads, I'm the mentor coach, and I've spent a lot of time, at least 6 years, mentoring to teen fathers and diving into fatherhood, not just on the level as adults, but working with teen dads and working with them in their realm of fatherhood. I've been connected with the Fatherhood Coalition of Tarrant County. I've done a lot of fatherhood work within Tarrant County and supporting fathers and other organizations, and I love fatherhood. I think fatherhood was one of the biggest blessings that I could have received being a dad myself for 12 long, it looks backwards, but 12 long years. And I know many of us out there has been fathers either longer than I have been a father, or they just now starting their journey into fatherhood. And so I'm just always excited to be connected, especially to you, my brother, Dad on Purpose. But I love talking about fatherhood and just being in the atmosphere about fatherhood and what we can do to be better fathers. So, man, let's get started.
Yo, I'm laughing because this is episode 1, and so when people see the energy that we vibing with, it's just, I don't know. I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
Quick backstory on me, man. So I like you said, I love being a dad. I got 2 under 2, and man, it is a blessing. It is a blessing. Your boy tired. And so, I'm stoked that we're talking about mental health, because whether you got a 2-year-old or a 19-year-old, I feel like you always going to be tired. I ain't got to 19 yet. Yeah. One day, Lord willing. But I feel like there's always going to be that sense of tiredness. And as fathers, man, we really got to look out for our mental health. Mm-hmm. Especially like you said before we came on and started recording, man, you was talking about, the holidays coming up. And I'm like, I'm not a gift giver.
Yeah.
I'm just me. So when I think about gifts, it's like, if I want something, I'm gonna buy it right now.
Right.
I'm not gonna wait till a certain day. You know what I'm saying? Like we got the toddler, and my wife's like, oh, let's get her this little bike and whoop, 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 whoop. And I'm like, okay, let's just get it now. Like, we ain't got to wait till then. So I'm super stoked that we're talking about it, man. But I'm going to let you jump into it. Like, what you want to talk about? Mental health? You want to talk about some shit?
No, well, right now in this season in November, it is Movember, Movember.org. They started this to focus on men's health. They first started focusing on prostate cancer. Then they started focusing on other aspects of men's health, including physical health, mental health. And so just with that in mind and thinking about mental health, I think it's very important that we just sit down and just have a discussion, just a real discussion. And watch, not just a real discussion between men, but black men, black fathers. We always miss the mark because, we're focusing on other people and other things. I think it's just time for us to have a real conversation.
But what does that conversation look like? Because, growing up, you grew up in the barbershops, I ain't really got no hair no more. You feel me? But growing up in the barbershop, that's where you hear all the talking and things like that. Growing up in the hood, there wasn't really an outlet for you to talk about that, not even at the barbershops. Like growing up in the hood, for me, I don't know about you, but growing up, it was kind of like a faux pas. You don't talk about mental health. Like the only emotion that black men could show is anger. So we get stereotyped. And so it's like, first things first, how do we even bring up that conversation? Like, how does that start? I mean, besides just me and you, people that are conscious about it, but for the everyday dude, how does that conversation even start with him and his friends?
I think it really has to start with the person too, just the individual person. Because you got, like you said, for us as Black men, it always started in the barbershop. But even when you think about our history growing up as men, it was always, man, you better suck that up. What you crying for? Man, you don't need to cry. Men don't cry. Yeah. You start crying.
I got no chest. I ain't been lifting.
But watch this. Even when you stick up your chest, they go punch you in your chest just so they can see if you're a man up. I'm like, dang, bro, I'm hurting. I'm sad, right? But why? And even that, even in that, I think that we have to not only just break down the barriers of old ideas that we grew up with, but we also have to deal with some anger, some things that we're angry about growing up. I think for a lot of us, a lot of us as men and Black men grew up without a father. So we didn't have an example of someone who could sit down and talk with us and actually, work us through our situations and our problems and talk to us well. And then some of us have fathers who's just not emotional. I've heard that. Daddy's not emotional. He's just the dad. Listen, my dad.
He loves you.
Yeah. He loves. Look at everything he done for you. Well, but when I was thinking of my thoughts and I needed some guidance, what he does for me, doesn't equate to the talks, the conversations. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that's a couple of things. First is like we got to first debunk all of that mess that we grew up with. Men are strong. Men, don't cry. Men, regardless of what you're going through, you got to stand up on your 2 feet and be strong because it's hard. It's hard to be strong. It's hard to be strong as a man. It's hard to be strong as a father. Like one of the things for me, look, true story. One of the things for me, like, bro, my mental health this year alone, like, was just. And it's something that you don't necessarily just like, hey, your mental health is going down south. It's just something that just happens and starts to tumble down this rabbit hole, and you don't even know you're going down that rabbit hole until one day you wake up and you're like, man, I have been sitting on a couch all day. I have been watching the news all day with all of the mass shootings of Black men, with all the COVID-19, being furloughed, laid off. For me, as a mentor and as a coach, a lot of my work was done in the school system. So when the school shut down, my work had transition. Yeah, it was like, dude, what are you going to do now? And then having to think about how to reach other people. So I just think that, like, man, I lost my train of thought. What was that part? We could edit that. But what was my train of
I ain't editing it. I ain't editing nothing. Because you was on a roll, man. We so you was on a roll because we really do got to debunk this whole thought process that, like, men don't cry. You got to be tough to be a man. And I think I don't know if that's step one. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's step two. I think step one, man, is just acknowledging the fact that mental health matters.
Yes.
Like, I think step one is acknowledging the fact that your mental health matters. And once you acknowledge the fact that it matters, then you can kind of start to look at the things in your life that are affecting your mental health.
Yeah.
So one of those things might be stereotypes or the way we were raised, or the friends that we're around. Mm-hmm. I was talking to a friend yesterday, man, and I was just doing some mental health check-ins, like hitting up the homies, just like, yo, how you doing? I wasn't even on because when this podcast is being recorded, we just finished the presidential election. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, Biden is the president-elect right now. We don't know what's going to happen. He may or not be, but right now he's the president-elect. And I was just checking on my dudes, just like, yo, like, you good? Not even on the election stuff, just just because men don't typically check in on each other. And so I was just like, yo, you good? And one of the homies, for some reason, I guess he decided that I was just talking about the election. and so he just started to go down this rabbit hole. And I was just like, bro, I was like, I ain't even on no election stuff.
Yeah.
And so he was like, oh, okay. So then he kind of flipped it, but then he went back to it. And so that let me know that his mental health wasn't cool, because he was struggling a little bit. But at the same time, he wasn't really trying to do anything about it. He just wanted to tell me that I was wrong for my opinion. So I was like, bro, I got to get off this phone.
Yeah, and I think
now you making me mad, and that's not why you when I call.
but I think that's the truth with men, though. You know, we carry on so much. Like, we carry on work, we get dealing with politics, we dealing with, and I'm not saying that women don't deal with the same thing.
Yeah. But they deal with it differently.
Yeah, they deal with it differently.
They got the little group chats, they little mommy and me groups, and I don't whatever. I'm gonna get in trouble. My wife's upstairs. She gonna come down here and be like,
"What you talking about?" but you're right, bro. Like, they have group, gotta hide. But you're right, man. They're more amped to speak up and talk about it. And one of the things that we fail to do is to speak up and talk about it, because we've always viewed that as being soft. Like, if you ain't fighting with your hands, then, or, you know what I mean, you ain't tough. But even just talking about it, but recognizing, that's something that you said earlier, is like recognizing. Like, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, I didn't recognize I was going down this rabbit hole. I didn't recognize my mental health was being all knocked up. I recognized the things that were going on around me. I recognized that I didn't have control of the things that were going on around me. But then at the same time, I had to, even at one point, man, hey, DL Hewley, I love you, man. I love you. But your IG post was killing me. You know what I mean? Like, it was just seeing.
I don't even listen to him on the radio no more. But anyway.
But that was something that was contributing to my mental health, because every post that he would during the time of the shootings, I know awareness is fine, but every time we're inundating ourselves with that, and we're seeing that, and if we don't get to a point where we say, you know what, enough is enough. Let me focus on me and the things that I can control. Let me focus on me and my family. Let me focus on me and my wife, for those who are married. Let me focus on me and my kid. Like, and then let me try to figure out, with everything that's going on the outside, how can I better prepare myself for my family? Because one thing that we don't realize is that without dealing with our mental health, that spills over into your marriages. That's why your marriage is going bad. That's why your relationship with your kids are going bad. It's because you're taking everything that's on the inside of you that you're not talking about, that you're not, writing out, videoing, or, getting out of your system, and you just unloading on your family. Like, fussing and you're arguing because of the frustration that you see out in the world or with yourself.
Man, I don't think, if there's any mothers out there watching this, listening to this, don't get mad at me. But I kind of equate that same thing that you're talking about to that mental health buildup, or not releasing it or letting it out or dealing with it, whatever, is kind of on the same level as kind of like postpartum for women, and depression and anxiety and things that they're dealing with. And it's just like, yo, if you don't acknowledge that something is going on inside of you that you're not okay with, like you said, it's going to ruin your relationship with your spouse. It's going to ruin a relationship with your kids. It's going to ruin the relationship with your coworkers. You're not going to be as effective as you can be. And so if we don't acknowledge what is going on, how do we really deal with this? So the first thing that we're talking about is, we got to acknowledge that mental health matters, right? Yeah. And then the second thing is we got to look at what in our life is affecting our mental health. So what's the third thing?
Then you got to reach out, man. Don't be afraid to reach out. Like you said, you reached out to your brothers to connect with them. And oftentimes we're the ones reaching out, right? So what we need brothers to do, what we need fathers to do, what we need men to do is not always let your strong friend be the one reaching out, even if it's not for yourself. Just reach out, bro. You good? You okay? And not just, hey, bro, what's up? Like, no, really. I had a sister, Dr. G, and she would always ask me, how are your thoughts? She wouldn't say, she'll be like, hey, how you doing? How your family doing? How your kid doing? And then she'll stop and say, how are your thoughts? What are you thinking? How are you feeling? And to me, that is something that we fail to, that we often fail to do as men. Because we don't ask that just simple question. How are your thoughts, bro? So really, I think the third thing is really just speaking up and start having a conversation. Like, we quick to have the conversation about NFL. I mean, you see my post last night. I was like, man, I'm sitting here watching Cam Newton play with the Patriots when I could be doing something for myself. You know, I can sit here and know all the stats of the basketball players. I can know all the stats of the baseball players or the football players. But then the real question is, like, what are some information that's really pertaining to me? And then how am I building myself up together? I think that's one thing that we really have to do is to start having real conversations, meaningful conversations, and not just in the church, y'all. Like, church is great and it's wonderful. I'm a minister, I'm part of a church, but we can't just always men's group, you know, or, you know, we got to be able to spread outside of those institutions that are great for us and get into the streets and get into the community centers and get into your neighborhoods. You know, I live in an apartment complex, and one of the things I'm always looking for is connecting and running to a neighbor just to have that connection. And we have to get back to that. I think over time, I'm from Houston, originally from Houston, and man, we had block parties, you know, Emancipation Park. You know, we would always come together as a community, and we have to get back to developing community, especially developing community for men, so that men can be strong men. And I've always, when I started my work in the community and working with young men, I said, in order to build strong communities, we got to have strong men, but we can't have strong men if we're dealing with the pressure of life by ourselves.
I don't got a mic, but
thank you, brother. Thank you.
I ain't got no mic, but if I did, bro, it's being dropped, man.
Yeah, man.
You hit on all of it, man, and community. That's key, and so that's exactly what we're trying to do, man. That's what this whole Dad on Purpose podcast is all about. It's just having a community, having an open forum for people just to come on here and just talk about the secrets of fatherhood, man, that people don't really talk about. And so one of those things is definitely mental health. And part of that mental health, man, is having that community, to have people that you can just lean into, that you can press into. You be like, hey, look, dog, my lady tripping. or not even that. Or just like, yo, like, I don't know why, but I'm just so angry at my kids all the time. And have somebody, and it may not even be the kids, it may be something else, but just having that community of people that you could talk to. And so that's what we're doing with this podcast, creating an online platform, also creating an online Facebook group. Man, I can't wait until we get our Dads on Purpose bike team. I know we talked about that in the DFW Dallas area. It's coming. Kev live far in Fort Worth and in no man's land, but that's cool. We're going to figure something out.
I could bike down to Trinity. I could meet you halfway, but then I got to bike back because I ain't going to make it.
Man, put it on the, I forgot what you drive, man.
Fiat.
Yeah, put it on the Fiat. I'll bring the truck, man, and I come scoop you up.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what brothers do.
I'm not coming, man. Gas too expensive. Yo, but Kev, man, I know we got to run, man, but is there any like parting words that you want to say to the people?
Man, listen, this is the most important. Like, we're talking about mental health, and we're talking about fatherhood with mental health. And I think one of the most important things that popped up into my mind to add to this is unplug. Unplug. In order for you to really, really like dig into your mental health, like, you're going to have to give up some stuff. Like, bro, like, unplug from your social media, you know, probably instead of, you know, take some time for yourself. Take some time for yourself, your thoughts, how you feel. Like, I know, and, you know, and I know, we know the pressures, bro. We know the pressures of having a wife and having kids. And sometimes you're not living on your schedule. You're living on their schedule, their time. So
you ain't got no schedule.
Yeah, right? You ain't got no schedule. You need to go pick up the kids. That's what you need to go do, you know? Or you need to cook, or you need to clean. But we need to unplug so that we can really tap into our mental state, so we can tap into our own happiness. You know, I know people who love to play golf but never get to go play golf because of the stressors and the things of life. We have to unplug so that we can take care of us, so we can better take care of our wives, so we can better take care of our kids, so we can better take care of our communities, and build the communities that we wish and hope to have, build the families that we wish to hope to have. So if any man is listening right now and you know, life ain't right. You know what I mean? You know, the way you feeling right now is just not right. Like, this is the prime time for you to unplug, connect with us with Dads on Purpose. look for our Facebook page, connect with some men that you know that are strong fathers. Listen, don't go try to hang out with the dude that's always complaining about his wife and complaining about his kid. Like, they need help too. But to get some good, solid information, like, unplug and connect with some positive sources, put some positive things around you. I work out now, not just to look good, but it helps me, empty my brain, empty my thoughts. You know what I mean? That jump rope be beating me up, but when I'm finished, my mind is clear. I can think about, what my next steps need to be. Instead of going to go roll up a joint or, drink some liquor, like, and not to say hey, whatever you do is what you do, but sometimes those are just deterrents, right? Because normally when you get alone to yourself, you want to do what you want to do, but sometimes those things take you off course with handling the things that you're really needing to handle. So yeah, definitely. If anything, fellas, when you hear this, I want you to take some time to unplug, get with your thoughts, get a pen and pad, and just really just write some stuff out that you're really feeling. And if you don't have anybody to share that with, that's okay. Just leave it in your own personal binder. Like, open up a notepad in your phone and really get with yourself, digress, and figure out what is it that's making you feel not normal. What is that that's making you not feel happy? And that's what I got.
That's all you need. Look, I was gonna stop you a couple minutes ago, but I said, you know what? He owns something right here. But that's it, man. So, if you guys need us, catch us online. You can catch me at Dad on Purpose on IG. You can catch Kevin at _mentor coach at IG. Man, we got an online Facebook group called Dads on Purpose, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Peace.